Jingle bells, cupcakes all the way. Hey! Hi there, I'm Cornell here from Piping Petals and welcome to my online tutorial for my Christmas selection. I'm a massive Christmas fan, as you can see, and I'm so excited to share these beautiful creations with you. This is an easy way to create a stunning centerpiece for your Christmas table and something that is just a little bit different. In this tutorial, I'll demonstrate the techniques and discuss the equipment you'll need to pipe 6 festive American buttercream plants and flowers. They will include the Pinecone, Allium, Dahlia, Poinsettia, a mini white rose with holly leaves and berries, and of course, last but not least, a Christmas tree with snow. I'll let you know my favorite nozzles to use for each flower and how to get the design just right. If you want to learn more about how to prepare the colors we've used with this tutorial or how to fill your piping bags with multicolored effects, please refer to my Working with Colors online tutorial. Let's get started. The first one we're going to pipe is a Dahlia. A Dahlia comes in a variety of bright colors, but to fit in with our Christmas selection, we're going to do it in a holly green. This is a normal white buttercream that I have coloured with holly green, and it's just a solid colour filled piping bag. You're going to need 2 nozzles for this one. It is the Wilton 74, which is one of their leaf collections. It's got a little flat top at the top and then a round spiky end around the bottom. And you'll also need the Wilton 81, which is a speciality tip, and it looks like a little smile. So let's start. We start with the Wilton 74, and you want to hold the nozzle with the flat tip of your nozzle facing upwards. On my nozzle, it is the same side that also has the writing on your nozzle. We're going to start about 1 centimeter or so in from the cupcake edge. You're going to squeeze and pull, and that's your first petal. And we're going to continue around the cupcake. You can try to make your petals go just over your cupcake edge to hide the cupcake case. I'll show you now why you're using the flat end facing up. Because of the unique shape of this nozzle. There we go, that's your first layer. And if you look at the petals from the side, it creates like a boat shape. So that flat end creates a little concave shape at the top. We're going to do the same again, go around for another layer of petals. Just start on the inside of the previous layer and just pull a little bit upwards. It's a very easy one to pipe this. Can't really go wrong. And you're pulling and releasing your pressure just sort of short of the previous layer. It's just a little bit shorter than the previous layer of petals. And we're going to do one more. Angle your nozzle even more vertical and shorter petals. There we go. Now I'm just going to add a bit of center detail. So moving on to the Wilton 81. Wrap it around your finger, nice and tight. And with the smiley end facing towards the bottom, we're just going to make a few petals on the inside. Lay the one over the other. So there's your bud, and we're just going to do a few more layers. Pull the next layer vertical upwards. And one more layer. And with the last layer, just pull slightly out. Just move that petal out of the way if you can't get in. And it just creates a very nice transition from your bud shape in the middle to your outer petals. That's your dahlia. Next up, we're going to do a pine cone, a very Christmassy feel with a pine cone as well, and it looks super cute. We're going to pipe it sitting on some grass, so it is adding a real cute look to your Christmas selection. So you're going to need a Wilton 233, which is your grass nozzle, and we're going to need a Gem 61. Now, we've seen this type of nozzle in some other tutorials already. It's a curved petal shape. We've got a wide end at the bottom, and your narrow end will be the upper tip of your petals. In this case, a pine cone. So starting with your Wilton 233, wrap around your finger nice and tight. We're going to cover the outside of your cupcake with some grass first. So just against your cupcake, pull. Doesn't have to look neat. It is grass at the end of the day. You just pull up. I'm sort of, the width I'm going here is about, you can fit in 2 nozzles next to each other to get to the edge of your cupcake. If your grass is falling over, just go over that section again. You'll see my grass have got a multicolour look to it. Some reds and dark green sections. I call this the accentuated multiple stripe method. And if you want to see how we've done that, please go and have a look at my online tutorial for working with colours. So switching over to your Gem 61 nozzle, we're now going to pipe the pine cone. You want to use the wide end of your nozzle against your cupcake and the narrow end of your nozzle facing outwards. I do have a little bit of a two-tone effect in this bag. With a pine cone, it is quite nice to use a lighter colour on the edge of your petals because it just highlights the shape of your pine cone. It's not strictly necessary. You can just fill your bag with a solid brown colour. But if you want to know how I've done that, go and have a look at my online tutorial for working with colours. Right, so starting in the little hole we've created in our grass, we're going to start with a circular motion and create what looks like a petal of a flower. And in. So when you bring your petal in, you lift your nozzle to create an edge, and that's giving us a space for the next one to just go next to it. And we're going to go around the circle. Just push the grass out of your way a little bit. And the last one. Okay, there's the base for your pine cone. And we're now going to, as with any other flower, your next petals are going overlapping the previous level, where start in the middle of one petal and overlapping the joint. So we're going to do the same movement again, and your petals are just slightly shorter and smaller than your previous layer. There we go. And we continue. So this is what you're going to do to build up your pine cone. And we keep doing that all the way to a height that you are happy with. Remember to tighten your bag, not be lazy like I am. The pine cone is a really cute one to pipe. You can really see the shape coming on. So remember to just make your petals slightly shorter because you want your pine cone to end with a sort of a tip right at the top. Almost there. You can see I'm using my left hand a lot to help rotate your cake to get that sort of round shape for your pinecone petals. And right at the top, you're almost creating a vertical one to end with. There you go. How cute is that? You can see the two-tone, what I meant with it's just defining the shape of your pine cone a little bit because you see the shape better versus a one solid color. And there is your little pine cone ready to go in your Christmas selection. Right, the third flower we're going to pipe for our Christmas selection is a white allium. We're going to start with a cupcake that's covered in a dome shape with some green buttercream. You can use a Wilton 2A just to pipe some green buttercream on and smooth it in a dome shape. Or if you're lazy like I am, just use a spoon, lob on some green buttercream and just shape it in a dome shape. We then need a Wilton 224. And the Wilton 224 is quite a small flower nozzle with a closed star tip. And we're going to use this to cover our entire cupcake with tiny little white flowers. And it's going to look like a dome of snow, quite a fluffy looking flower. So start anywhere where you like. I like to start right at the edge. And squeeze. You can give your nozzle just a slight twist as you pipe, and it just helps the buttercream to stick. Because if you just do this and lift, can you see I've just lifted some of the petals off with me? It's just the design of this nozzle. So just a little tip is just twist slightly and lift. The whole point of this design with the allium is to have some green that you can see through the petals. So don't worry about trying to cover every single surface space of your green, because it actually adds to the look of this flower. If your nozzle gets clogged up, just wipe it a little bit. Because sometimes with this nozzle, the petals don't come off cleanly. And then if you just carry on, it gets a bit messy. There we go. Just going to add one more there. And that is your allium. See? Looks like a little dome of snow. Very cute. The fourth flower we're going to pipe is the very popular Poinsettia. It looks amazing and very festive because it's bright red. So for this one, we're going to use 3 different nozzles. You're going to need the Wilton 352, which is the smaller version of your leaf petal with the little bird beak. We're going to use exactly the same one, but the larger version for a red. This is the Wilton 366. And you also need a Wilton 2 or 3 with some yellow colouring in for the centre of your flower. If you don't have a Wilton 2, you can easily just snip off the end of a piping bag with no nozzle at all, and that will be sufficient to do the centre of your flower as well. Right, so you are going to start with the 352, the smaller version, and a holly green colour. So right at the edge of your cupcake, we're going to add some greenery, which you're going to see through the petals of the poinsettia. So the greenery is really just to decorate the bottom of the cake. So with the sharp end against your cupcake, we're going to squeeze and create a petal. I'm leaving a gap there because the poinsettia leaves are in 3s and 6s as you go around the cake. So it is, you can leave a gap, or you can completely fill your cupcake with the green leaves, up to you. Okay, but you can leave it just like that with 3 gaps where the first poinsettia leaves will be. So moving over to the Wilton 366 with a very nice bright red colour. If you want to see how to make red, which is quite tricky, go and have a look at my How to Work with Colours online tutorial. So with the sharp end of the bird's beak facing downwards against your cupcake, we're now going to pipe nice big broad petals in the gaps. So give it a nice big squeeze and pull. There we go. We're going to do another 3 over the green. So that's your first layer done. Give your nozzle a wipe. Tighten your bag, and we're going to do a second layer again with 6 petals. So just inside there, lower your nozzle, and we're going to do 1 slightly shorter than before. Leave a gap, 2, leave a gap, 3, and now fill the gaps. 1, 2, 3. Now right at the end, we're just going to finish the flower, or the petals at least, with 3 right in the middle. 1, just a tiny squeeze, 2, 3. Beautiful colour. Now moving over to your Wilton 2 with some nice bright yellow. Wrap around your finger. And we're literally just going to make some blobs in the middle. Have a look, see if you need one. There's a little gap there. There we go. Very happy with that. That's your festive poinsettia. Can't have a Christmas bouquet without this one in it. Okay, the 5th flower we're going to do for our festive Christmas selection is a small white rose with some holly leaves and red berries. Again, very, very Christmassy. And of course, you can't not have your holly leaves. So let's start with that. For this one, we're just going to cover our cupcake in a bit of white buttercream first. Because you're doing quite a few different elements on this cupcake, it's just nice to have a base to work from, and then any gaps between the different elements already have a bit of buttercream that is covering your cake. There we go. Okay, so for this one we need quite a few nozzles. You're going to use the Wilton 104 to pipe the mini white rose. We're going to go back to our Wilton 352, which we've literally just used for the poinsettia as well, and that's going to be the holly leaves. And then you also need a Wilton 2 or 3 with some red colouring for the berries. So let's start with the rose. With the wide end of your nozzle against the cupcake, narrow tip facing upwards, we're going to do a small rose that's sort of covering that area of your cupcake because you want to leave some space for your holly leaves. So we're going to start and just build a bud shape for your rose. There we go. And continue with your petals in a slightly inverted U shape. So start at the bottom, pipe upwards and down. Not too much height because we want to keep it nice and small. That looks really nice. And now just start to have slightly vertical petals and less height to it, that we just finish that rose off nicely. One more. There you go, really cute. Now we're moving on to the Wilton 352. I'm just going to add some normal leaves to cover the sides of your rose to look nice and neat. And then we'll do the holly leaves as well. So pointy end down against your cupcake. Squeeze and release. And just make a few. You can even let them stand up a little bit like that. Let's make another one standing up. So you're basically just covering the edges of your rose to look nice and neat. There we go. Right, same nozzle. The way you make a holly leaf is by wiggling. So we're starting sharp end of the nozzle facing downwards, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and pull. There's one holly leaf. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. It's always amazing to me how you use the same nozzle and you get completely different shapes with the same nozzle. But that is how it is with piping flowers. So moving on to your Wilton 3. We're just adding a few red berries. There we go. I'm quite happy with that. Right, now just to finish off with this one, and we're going to use it for our last flower as well. Get a little bowl, get some coconut, and we are going to add some snow. So just scoop some up. Gets quite messy, that's why I'm saying get a bowl out. And just on the white that you can still see on the cupcake, just cover some of the white area with coconut. You can push it slightly into the buttercream just to stick. It smells lovely. I love coconut. Push it in. There we go. And there is your mini white rose with holly leaves and red berries. some snow. So last but not least, we're going to do a Christmas tree on our last cupcake. So to start with the Christmas tree, we're just going to cover the cupcake in white buttercream. And then we're going to start with our Christmas tree right in the middle. It's going to be the center of attention. We're using only one nozzle. It's the Wilton 352, which is the small leaf nozzle with the little bird beak end to it. And we're going to start at the bottom, make quite a broad and wide base for your tree, and then work our way upwards with various layers of petals to get to a pointy end of the tree. So sharp end down, we're going to squeeze and make a nice petal. There we go, our base for our tree. So for the next layers, we're just going to make our petals slightly shorter, overlapping with your previous layer of petals to give your tree that nice full look, and work our way upwards to finish at the top. I find that it's easier to pipe, leaving one petal open and pipe the next one, and then come back to fill that space. Otherwise, because your petals are so close to each other, if you just continue in a circular motion, the volume of your petals are making your tree a little bit lopsided. So now we just finish in the gaps. You can try to lift your nozzle up just ever so slightly to let your leaves, which is your branches for the tree, just stand a little bit up in the air. Start making them shorter. Once in a while, just have a look at your tree from the top. Make sure you are building a level tree. It goes straight up, because the weight of all of this buttercream, if you're doing it lopsided, the tree will definitely topple over, which we do not want. So I'm going to finish soon, make a few very small branches at the top. One there. Let's do another one there. And single one right in the middle. There we go. And that is your little Christmas tree, but we're not finished yet. Get your sprinkles out. Everybody's got sprinkles in their cupboard. So nice green, red and white sprinkles, all the festive colours. And we're just sprinkling it over the tree, which is our Christmas tree decorations. So just gently sloping your tree to the one end. Not too much, otherwise your tree will fall over. Your buttercream will set over time, so your tree toppling over is really just a risk right now while you're getting your decorations to stick. And then once it's stood in the air for a little bit, the buttercream will set and your tree will be safe. Right, okay, so let's just empty our bowl. If you own a square bowl, this is the benefit. You just pour your sprinkles right back into the container. There we go. Get your coconut or your snow ready. And we're just going to add some coconut to the exposed white buttercream at the bottom. Just push it very gently, that it sticks. There we go. And last but not least, no tree is the same without a star. So we're going to add our star at the top. This Christmas selection of sprinkles that I've got actually has some gold stars. So we're going to take 2 of those. Just choose your ones that's a nice shape. And it's useful just to use a little toothpick for this bit, because you want to get your star to stick at the very end of the petal. So keep your toothpick at the back of your petal to give a bit of support. And stick your star. Turn it around, and we'll just do the same on the other side. There we go. And there we've got a beautiful festive little Christmas tree, which I think should be the center of our cupcake bouquet. So we'll now just add our cupcakes, our festive cupcakes, to a bouquet. I'm adding my tree right in the middle. Use a little toothpick just to push it in. There we go. And my smallest bouquet is 7, so you need 7 cupcakes. I've added 1 more poinsettia. I think it's quite nice to have the reds across each other, your 2 flowers with white in it across each other, and in your dahlia and your pinecone with a tree in the middle. So let's just bring this all up. And you have a beautiful Christmas bouquet. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please remember to leave me a review when you have a minute, either on Google or my social media pages. You can also subscribe to my Blooming Bakes YouTube channel for complimentary videos on how to make the best American buttercream for piping these flowers, as well as cupcake recipes and lots more. See you soon!